Spendthrift Farm Stallions. First 2-year-olds on the track by Golden Sense, Cross Traffic, It's My Lucky Day, Can the Man, and Shaking It Up, including Cross Traffic's impressive black type winner, Jaywalk, who recently captured the White Clay Creek Stakes at Delaware Park. Spendthrift, the breeder's farm.
Hi everybody, I'm Dan Illman along with Nicole Russo, and welcome to Spa Babies presented by Spendthrift Farm. Spendthrift Stallion Flat Out has Guacamole a little bit later on the Saturday card in the Grade 1 Spinaway. That one's already graded stakes placed, but our Spa Baby race is the opener. Some really nice pedigrees on display. We're going 7 furlongs, $85,000 is the purse. We will take the field in post position order, Nicole, beginning with the number 1 Limonite, going on for Steve Asmussen, who's had a wonderful meet thus far with his 2-year-olds. This dam was a champion 3-year-old filly in Argentina, but I see a lot of turf and distance in this pedigree. I may wait for a surface switch down the road, especially considering the stallion Lemon Drop Kid.
Yeah, obviously Lemon Drop Kid, such a good multi-surface sire. And yeah, you mentioned that deep South American family. You see a lot of grade and group 1 class down there. At first glance, it definitely strikes me as a turf page, but kind of an interesting work tab on this horse. Looking at it, it looks like Steve Asmussen kept this one down at his Churchill Downs base until well into August before bringing him up here to Saratoga for the end of the meet, rather than waiting for some of these rich Kentucky maiden events coming up at the Churchill and Keeneland fall meets. I have to think that there's a reason for that.
He'll have to deal with an inside post position. It can be intimidating for young horses. 7 furlongs, also a demanding distance for these 2-year-olds, as Speed App found out in his career debut for Wayne Lucas. We're going to take a look at the stretch run right now. Speed App is on the outside in those greenish silks, and he's kind of one-paced in the lane, finishing an even 4th. But if you've been paying attention to our Spa Babies videos all week, all meet long, you'll notice that Lucas rarely wins first time out at Saratoga. This horse should benefit with this race under his belt.
He really should, particularly, as you said, considering that 7 furlong distance. This really should have moved him up from a fitness standpoint, and he really didn't run a terrible 4th there on debut. We think of Flatter as a little bit more of a distance sire. You know, he had the likes of Flat Out, who won the Jockey Club Gold Cup twice and is now standing at Spendthrift. But, you know, Flat Out also won the Cigar Mile, the sire of some very quick horses like Taurus. This one half to a Grade 2 place juvenile from the family of champion juvenile filly Folklore, who was also trained by Wayne Lucas. This 7 furlongs might hit him right between the eyes, and he might move forward at a price off that debut.
And I like that 1 week after that career debut, he went right back to the Oklahoma training track and fired a bullet, half mile in 47 seconds. We always say experience counts in these Spa Baby videos. Speed App, one of only 4 horses in this race with prior racing experience. A first-time starter is the number 3 Lion Dance. I'm a little bit interested in this son of Bernardini, who connects with 12% winners with 2-year-old first-time starters. This Damn Cat Moves was a Grade 1 stakes-winning sprinter at Saratoga, has already foaled a juvenile debut winner, and this is the family of Millionaire Gold Mover.
Yeah, also the family of Hootenanny, who of course was such a good juvenile. There's a ton of speed and precocity on the bottom side of that family. I mean, you mentioned Cat Moves. What a nice filly she was, winning the Prioress and other events. Lion Dance coming into his debut off a bullet work and gets Javier Castellano aboard.
The number 4 is Felix the Fox. This is a son of the all-world stallion Tappet, the second dam horse of the year, Hall of Famer Azeri. The dam was a pretty nice runner in her own right. A graded stakes winning dirt router, has already foaled a juvenile debut winner. And you might think that this one could appreciate a little bit more distance and experience. Heck, it's a Shug McGahee trained 2-year-old after all, but this horse, I think, has some precocity on the bottom, and Tappet never hurts.
Yeah, Tappet certainly never hurts. This really should be his best group of 2-year-olds yet as they continue to emerge. Expected to have Nitrous and the Hopeful on Monday, and you know, of course, Chasing Yesterday and the Spinaway later in the card. You know, the Damn Wine Princess does have that 2-year-old winner on her resume, her first foal already, as you mentioned. But I do think this one's going to improve with distance and experience. That's certainly what second Dam Azeri did. That's certainly what her runners, a limited number of runners in the United States, as she was sold to Japan to continue her broodmare career. They've certainly, you know, continued to emerge as they got older as well. Wine Princess, such a good, hard-knocking route mare. Felix the Fox, a homebred, trained by Shug McGahee. You've got to think they're going to play the long game with him. I think this is going to be a classy horse, but I do think he's going to appreciate, some more distance down the line.
Trainer Dallas Stewart pulled off a little bit of an upset last Saturday, Travers Saturday in the opener at Saratoga, with the Louisiana-bred first-time starter coming off some fast workouts. He's got a Kentucky-bred in here by more than ready, and the number 5, Frolic More, only sold for $25,000 in April, but there is a lot of class on the bottom of this family. Yes, Lewis Bay won both of her graded stakes races going long, but she is certainly capable sprinting in around one turn, and there is a lot of sprintability on the bottom. I have a feeling they might have gotten a bargain here with Frolic More.
Definitely, a lot of precocity on both sides of the pedigree. Of course, More Than Ready, so good with his juveniles. Kind of maybe gets more headlines on the turf, but on either surface, of course, Catholic Boy, who just won the Travers, was a graded winner on both dirt and turf last year. You mentioned that this is the first foal out of a half to Lewis Bay, a graded performer going longer. She was a grade 2 winning juvenile. Also the dam a half to graded winners Misconnect and Winslow Homer. Their dam graded winning juvenile Summer Raven. Dallas Stewart, the kind of guy who's not afraid to run them at 7 furlongs first out. Yeah, definitely a lot of 2-year-old ability both sides of this page.
The number 6 Signalman made his career debut way back in the middle of May at Churchill Downs, and I thought he ran quite well for trainer Kenny McPeak, who's having a very nice Saratoga meet. He finished a rallying second behind a speedy runner in Sir Troubadour. I'm a little bit concerned about the 3+ months off, but this horse was able to earn that 60 Beyer speed figure back in May. You'd have to think he is bigger and stronger now, and he has worked a couple of bullets at Saratoga.
Yeah, and you know what? Second on that debut on a sloppy track to Sir Troubadour, who you mentioned, who came back to win the Bashford Manor, a pretty nice horse. A little bit of everything in Signalman's pedigree by the versatile and long-winded General Quarters, out of a mare by the very fast Trippy. A little bit of everything on that page.
Chad Brown sends out the number 7 Will Dancer. This is a $300,000 yearling by the first crop stallion Will Take Charge. He is a half to Notacatbutallama, who is a graded stakes winning router on turf and in an off the turf race. But Will Dancer is also a half to a stakes place dirt sprinter, and the dam was fairly precocious as well. Looks like a couple of these workouts have gone in company with Chad's Network Effect, who won first time out earlier this meet with a real solid 76 Beyer. Let's talk a little bit about the Will Take Charge. You automatically think distance, but I think the 7 furlongs will hit Will Dancer right between the eyes.
I think so as well. They weren't going to be those early, 4.5 furlong April, May maiden winners, but this is about the time of year that I'm expecting to start seeing these emerge. Of course, Will Take Charge won his debut during the Keeneland October meet, so right about now is, when you want to start thinking about these. Interesting purchase history on this horse. Will Take Charge stands for Three Chimneys, which went out and purchased this horse for $300,000. Now, Three Chimneys has a terrific broodmare band of their own, breeds to support their stallions, goes out to support their stallions at the sales. I find it interesting when a farm that's standing a stallion goes out and purchases one by him. Of course, they're supporting the stallion, but they're looking at all of the Will Take Charges out there, and of course they could have as many as they want, and they're saying, we want this one. We think this is a great representation of the stallion. So I always do kind of note when a stud farm goes out and purchases a horse like this.
I think it's a really great angle for the folks at home to consider. The number 8 is Fed Fever, and by another first crop stallion, this by Fed Biz. This horse went through the auction ring 4 times, most recently selling for $280,000 in May. There's a lot of speed on the bottom of this pedigree, and I don't really think he had an opportunity to show what he could do in his career debut. He took a little bit of money on opening day and then was wider than wide.
Yeah, very, very wide. And, the runners going out for George Weaver usually do need a starter, too. He's not the sort of trainer that you circle first time out. So I'm certainly not going to hold this debut against him. You mentioned a lot of speed in the family. The dam's a half to stakes winner 5-Star Mama, who was graded placed as a juvenile. And you mentioned first crop stallion Fed Biz. He's a stallion I'm really interested in. He was a very versatile runner, going short and long on, a number of surfaces. He's bred to be a stallion by Giants Causeway and from a female family that's produced a number of notable stallions. And he is just an absolute beast of a physical. And I think if he can pass on some of his pedigree and physical traits to his progeny, he'll be in great shape.
Completing the field is the number 9, Bumperdoo, and you could certainly understand why trainer Nick Zito wanted to run this horse on the turf in his career debut. Look at all that turf ability on that pedigree card. Bumperdoo, a half to a couple of black-type turf runners. The dam was stakes place routing on turf, and unfortunately for Bumperdoo and Zito, the race was washed off the turf onto the main track, and the horse was beaten 30 lengths. Interesting that he's back here on the dirt going 7 furlongs.
Very interesting. Birdstone, obviously you would think those would want to run on the dirt. He sired a pair of classic winners in his first crop. A lot of turf on the bottom half of the family, though. This is a very deep, extended family. Through the years, it's produced horses like Champions Flawlessly and Tasma, leading sire Halo. More recently, the family is responsible for the likes of multiple Grade 1 winning turf horse Divisadero. So, yeah, kind of definitely an interesting page there.
Perhaps Nick's giving this horse one more try on the dirt based on that fleet workout on August the 16th, a half-mile bullet and 46 and change. Nevertheless, he is going to have to improve by leaps and bounds. As we see from this Zito formulator fact, it's usually several races and distance. 2-year-old second-time starting dirt sprinters, only 4% winners and a 20-cent ROI. Perhaps one to keep an eye on down the road, stretching out and switching to turf. We kick off this fantastic Woodward Saturday card with a real nice Spa Baby event. Who do you like?
I think this is a really interesting race. I think it's really well matched between those well-bred first-time starters and the few horses in here with experience. There are a lot of horses who I'm going to circle to keep an eye on down the line, including, we talked a lot about Felix the Fox, who I think might want to go longer down the line, but you can't ignore a page like that. Same with the likes of Lion Dance. I'm going to take a little bit of a price to try to open the card, though. Speed App for Wayne Lucas, I think, is going to be a lot sharper and fitter off that debut, should move forward, should work out a nice trip. I also do think Limonite down toward the inside for Asmussen, kind of a lot up against him. We talked about the turf pedigree, we talked about the inside post, but I do have to think there's a reason that this horse shipped up here. And Lion Dance, I like that bullet from a family with a lot of juvenile success.
And Speed App breezed a sub-21 quarter at that preview sale back in June with a more alert break. Perhaps we'll see a lot more speed from Speed App. Usually I go with the experienced horses. Here I'm concentrating on 2 first-time starters. The 7 Will Dancer by Will Take Charge. I really like the dam Self-Rising. Was a nice horse several years back for trainer Peter Pugh. The 3 Lion Dance, the Bernardini out of the Grade 1 winner Cat Moves. Those are the 2 first-time starters I want to concentrate on. 7 and 3 in backups and multiple race wagers, kicking off a pick 5, etc. I like the 6 Signalman and the 2 Speed App. Great way to kick off the Woodward Saturday card. It is your Saturday Spa Baby race, and our coverage is presented by Spendthrift Farm.